Meet the millionaire CEO who never believed in love until he met his assistant. Their professional relationship takes a dramatic turn during a business trip to Africa, where ancient folktales and modern drama collide. In the heart of Lagos, Nigeria, stood the towering headquarters of Halden Enterprises, a beacon of modern business in a city rich with tradition. At the helm was Elijah Halden, a millionaire CEO known for his sharp mind and even sharper tongue. His assistant, Clara Benton, was a different story entirely. She was the kind of woman who could juggle 3 phone calls, a coffee spill, and Elijah's impossible schedule without breaking a sweat or brushing her hair. Their dynamic was unusual. Clara, with her warm smile and quick wit, was the antithesis of Elijah's stern demeanor. They had rules: keep it professional, keep it sharp, and absolutely keep it platonic. But one unexpected business trip to a luxurious resort in the African savannah would send those rules crashing down. The elevator doors slid open with their usual soft chime, revealing the sleek, modern lobby of Halden Enterprises. Rows of pristine desks stretched toward the windows framed by the morning skyline. People straightened their ties, adjusted their blouses, and checked their calendars with the urgency of those who knew the boss was somewhere nearby. At the center of it all, behind a glass wall and a door that might as well have been labeled "Here be dragons," sat Elijah Halden, CEO, billionaire, and the human embodiment of a perfectly pressed suit. His desk was a fortress of paperwork and a laptop that never seemed to be turned off. Clara breezed past the receptionist with a coffee in one hand and a manila folder stuffed with reports in the other, her glasses slipping down her nose in their usual way. Her hair, which had been tied into a bun at 7:15 a.m., was already starting to escape in rebellious wisps. Her black pencil skirt was impeccable, but her shirt bore the faintest evidence of a coffee drip, hidden from most eyes, but obvious to her own. When she reached Elijah's office, she didn't knock. She never did. "You have 5 minutes before your 9 o'clock meeting with the Anderson Group," she said, striding in. "I suggest you pretend to be a warm, approachable human being. Until then." Elijah glanced up from his laptop, his tie already perfectly in place. "I'll stick with efficient and intimidating." "Thank you." She set the folder on his desk. "Also acceptable. But then don't be surprised when Anderson chooses the other guy." She turned at the door, giving him a bright, fake sweet smile. "Sure you will. And they'll last about 2 weeks." He didn't answer, but his eyes followed her until the door closed. The black sedan glided to a stop under the sweeping thatched awning of the Serenity Savannah Retreat, and the doorman opened the door with the kind of crisp precision that suggested he'd been trained by a military general. Clara stepped out and instantly forgot how to breathe. The entrance lobby wasn't just big. It was grand. A vast expanse of polished wooden floors stretched beneath her heels, reflecting the sunlight pouring in from a wall of glass. Above her hung a chandelier the size of her apartment, dripping with crystals that caught the sunlight. In the center of the lobby, an arrangement of exotic flowers rose from a fountain like a sculpture. "This isn't a hotel," she whispered, turning in a slow circle. "This is a UFO landing site. And the views. Oh, the views." The savannah stretched out beyond the glass, a sea of golden grass punctuated by acacia trees and the occasional herd of grazing animals. Elijah, ever the consummate professional, handed the concierge his credit card without missing a beat. "It's functional," he said, as if reading her mind. "Functional," she echoed, her eyes wide with wonder. "You could fit my entire childhood home in the lobby." "Twice," he smirked. "Maybe 3 times. Their rooms were on the top floor. Suites naturally, each with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the sprawling savannah." Clara stepped inside hers and stopped dead. There was a plush king-sized bed draped in crisp white linens, a seating area with velvet armchairs, and a balcony with a view that made her dizzy. And then she noticed the bathroom. "Oh my God," she muttered to herself. The bathtub wasn't just deep. It was practically canopy-sized, set beside a wall of glass with a view of the savannah. A tray already rested across it, stocked with bath salts, champagne glasses, and chocolates. Her phone buzzed. A message from Elijah. "Dinner in my suite at 7. Bring your laptop," she typed back. "You mean dinner meeting or dinner?" "Dinner." His reply came almost instantly. "Yes, at 7 sharp." Clara knocked on his door and was met with the warm scent of something delicious. "Steak," she guessed, and the faintest trace of his cologne. His suite mirrored hers in layout, but was more elegant. His jacket was slung neatly over a chair, his laptop open on the dining table alongside an array of files and a bottle of red wine breathing nearby. "You ordered room service," she said, setting her laptop down. "Fancy," Elijah corrected, pouring her a glass. "Efficient," she teased, taking a sip. "Saves us from dining with the investment crowd until we have to." They ate at the table, laptops open between plates of stewed salmon, roasted vegetables, and to her surprise, a basket of warm bread that she demolished with zero shame. "You're supposed to be working," Elijah teased, watching her butter another slice. "I am working," she said through a mouthful. "I'm working on keeping my blood sugar up so I can fix your disaster of a presentation." "It's not a disaster," he said automatically. She clicked through his slides and raised an eyebrow. Slide 4 is in Comic Sans. Elijah, it's not. He leaned over, frowned, and muttered, that's unacceptable. She smirked. Don't worry. I'll save you from public humiliation. On their third day in the savannah, Clara woke up to the soft hum of the breeze rustling the leaves outside her balcony. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a golden glow over the landscape. She slipped into a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, classing up her sneakers for a morning run. The resort grounds were vast, with winding paths that led through lush gardens and out into the savannah itself. Clara followed one such path, the cool morning air invigorating her senses. She ran past clusters of tropical flowers, their petals glistening with dew, and heard the distant call of exotic birds. As she rounded a bend, she spotted Elijah ahead, running with the same focused determination he brought to everything. He was dressed in a simple white t-shirt and black shorts, his usually perfectly coiffed hair slightly disheveled. Clara slowed her pace, matching his rhythm without interrupting his stride. You run early, she commented, falling into step beside him. You run at all, he replied, a hint of surprise in his voice. I need to clear my head sometimes, she said, her breath steady. Me too, he admitted, glancing at her. Plus, the view out here is better than any office window. Clara laughed softly. I'll give you that. They ran in comfortable silence for a while, the only sounds the rhythmic thud of their footsteps and the distant hum of nature. As they neared the edge of the savannah, Elijah pointed to a group of animals grazing peacefully in the distance. I've never seen anything like this, Clara murmured, her eyes wide with wonder. It's incredible, Elijah agreed, his voice barely above a whisper. Sometimes I forget how beautiful the world can be when you step outside the city. Clara turned to look at him, seeing the softness in his eyes. You surprise me, Halden, she said, a small smile playing on her lips. I could say the same about you, Benton, he replied, his gaze lingering on her for a moment longer than Nezep Ceres. Back at the resort, they parted ways to shower and change for the day's meetings. But Clara found herself unable to shake the feeling of closeness she'd experienced during their run. It was as if the boundaries between them had shifted, becoming more fluid and less defined. Later that afternoon, they sat in the resort's elegant conference room, reviewing the day's agenda. The room was bathed in natural light, with sheer curtains billowing gently in the breeze. Clara's laptop was open in front of her, but her mind was elsewhere, drifting back to their morning run and the unspoken connection she felt growing between them. Elijah, noticing her distraction, leaned over and closed her laptop with a soft click. You seem distracted, he said, his voice low. Clara met his gaze, her heart pounding in her chest. Maybe a little, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Do you regret coming here? He asked, his eyes searching hers. Clara hesitated, then shook her head. No, she said softly. I didn't expect things to feel this way. Elijah reached out, his hand brushing hers gently. Neither did I, he said, his voice filled with a mix of surprise and longing. In that moment, the tension between them was palpable, a charged silence that spoke volumes more than words ever could. What will happen next? This is a question that only Clara and Elijah have the answers to. The days that followed were a whirlwind of meetings, presentations, and late-night strategizing. Clara and Elijah found themselves growing closer, their professional boundaries blurring with each passing moment. They laughed together over shared jokes, supported each other through challenging negotiations, and stole quiet moments to admire the breathtaking savannah sunsets. But as the trip neared its end, a shadow began to creep into their paradise. Clara received a mysterious email, sent from an anonymous address. The subject line read urgent confidential information. Her heart pounded as she opened it, her eyes scanning the contents in disbelief. The email contained details of a secret deal. Elijah had been negotiating a deal that, if made public, could ruin his company and his reputation. Clara's mind raced. She knew she had to confront Elijah, but the thought of betraying his trust tore her apart. She decided to keep the email to herself, hoping it was all a misunderstanding. But as the days passed, more evidence surfaced, each piece adding to the growing puzzle of deception. Clara found herself torn between her loyalty to Elijah and her sense of right and wrong. She couldn't ignore the signs any longer. One evening, as they sat by the pool, the savannah's golden hues casting a warm glow over them, Clara couldn't hold back any longer. Elijah, we need to talk, she said, her voice trembling. He looked up from his laptop, his expression curious. What's on your mind? Clara, she took a deep breath, gathering her courage. I know about the secret deal, she said, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside her. Elijah's face paled, and for a moment, he was speechless. What are you talking about? He finally managed to say. I received an email, she continued, her eyes never leaving his. It had details of a deal you've been negotiating. A deal that could ruin everything. Elijah's expression darkened, his eyes narrowing. Who sent you that email? He demanded, his voice cold. Clara shook her head. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that you've been keeping secrets, Elijah, secrets that could destroy everything we've built together. Elijah stood up, his chair scraping loudly against the tiles. You shouldn't have gotten involved, Clara, he said, his voice laced with anger. This is none of your business. Clara's heart ached as she watched him storm away, leaving her alone with her thoughts. She had betrayed his trust, but she had also uncovered the truth. The question now was, what would she do with it? The next morning, Clara woke up to the sound of her phone buzzing with a message from Elijah, asking her to meet him in the conference room. Her heart heavy, she knew what was coming. As she entered the room, she found Elijah already there, his face etched with a mix of anger and sadness. "Clara, I need to know who sent you that email," he said, his voice firm. Clara shook her head. "I told you I don't know. But what I do know is that you've been keeping secrets. Secrets that could ruin everything." Elijah sighed, running a hand through his hair. "You're right," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "I was trying to protect the company, but I went about it the wrong way." Clara's eyes widened in surprise. "You admit it?" she asked, her voice trembling. Elijah nodded. "Yes," he said. "I made a mistake, and I'm willing to face the consequences. But I need your help. Clara, I need you to trust me one more time." Clara hesitated, her mind racing. She had betrayed his trust, but he was admitting his mistakes and asking for her help. Could she forgive him? Could she trust him again? After a moment of silence, Clara made her decision. "I'll help you," she said, her voice steady. "But on one condition." Elijah looked at her, his eyes filled with hope. "What's the condition?" he asked. "You have to be honest with me." Clara said, "No more secrets, no more lies. I need to know that I can trust you." Elijah nodded, a small smile playing on his lips. "You have my word," he said. "I promise to be honest with you from now on." Over the next few days, Clara and Elijah worked together to rectify the situation. They uncovered the source of the leak and exposed the truth, clearing Elijah's name and saving the company. Through it all, they found a newfound respect and trust for each other, their bond stronger than ever. As they prepared to leave the savannah, Clara couldn't help but feel a sense of redemption. She had betrayed Elijah's trust, but she had also played a crucial role in saving his company. And in the end, they had found a way to forgive each other and move forward. Back in Lagos, life returned to its usual rhythm, but something had changed. Clara and Elijah's dynamic was different, deeper. They no longer just worked together. They trusted each other, and as they sat in Elijah's office, the sun setting over the city, they knew that they had weathered the storm and come out stronger. Together, the lessons learned from their experiences in the African savannah would stay with them forever, a testament to their resilience, trust, and the power of redemption.